Cheers.
They don't know about the kumbaya meetings we had this week.
Behind. Good look. Three.
You just put yourself on the map. They didn't look into your heart. They didn't look into your heart. They didn't look into my heart.
All I want to do is compete.
Without Jerry McNamara, we wouldn't have won 10 fucking games this year.
Because they came to whose house? But doggone it, ain't it good to be winners again in the
Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Stacy.
What do we got today, babe?
Hello. We have.
Hello.
All right. So we just have a regular pale sour from Omegang in Cooperstown. So anything from Cooperstown is worth drinking in this house. And so that's what it is. Well, last time we went to Cooperstown, they were closed, so we weren't able to go.
Yeah, they were closed.
But yeah, it's just a regular sour from Omegang.
Yep. Really quick story before we get into everything about last time we were in Cooperstown when we hijacked the limousine.
Yeah.
We were sitting at a brewery, and the limo driver pulled up. He had just dropped off a wedding party, had 4 hours to kill. We bought him a flight of beer and lunch, and he took us around the Cooperstown breweries. Mm-hmm. So shout out to him.
Yeah, limo dude. Yeah, so that's what we're drinking. I kind of wanted to touch a little bit on our intro.
Okay.
So the last couple weeks, we have been kind of playing around with the intro. Before the season really started, we didn't have a lot to know or to put in there. We didn't really know what theme we were going. But we kind of latched on to all the pictures that you guys are sending us during the games and the Cuse selfies and things of that nature, where you're sitting, what your section is.
Where you're watching the game, what you look like, yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Ziegler typically shouts out from the Cuse Yourself page on Facebook, where's everybody sitting. So everybody sends us like different field advantages. So yeah, we have been kind of taking a couple of those per week.
I took as many as I could this week. There
I
was a lot. And it was, I love the participation. Mm-hmm. I love what this group is doing as far as bringing the fans together on that sort of level. Yeah. So I appreciate it, and keep it coming.
And then, we'll get to it. And maybe at some point there'll be, if we get 40 in a week, we'll do some in the beginning, some in the end, that kind of thing. But there was a lot of first timers.
Or I might stretch them out right here. If we get enough of them, I can just put them behind us for the whole thing.
There was a lot of first timers this week. There was a lot of kids that we met walking into the Dome. There was kids that we met down on the field at FanFest. I think that probably had a lot to do with it, maybe.
Right.
That the FanFest being during the season. Last year and years prior, they have done it on the off season.
Yes.
And there was some back and forth when they announced that it was going to be done during Holy Cross. There was some back and forth about whether or not it was good or bad for the fans. Mm-hmm. And what I like is I think this was scheduled for what's good for the players.
Agreed.
And yes, fans are very important, but Wild Heck is doing a lot to enhance our experience in the Dome and our experience with the program, getting out more visits, that kind of thing out in the community. But this one, I think, was specifically done for the benefit of the player. If in August they can get a Saturday morning off and sleep in or call their mom or whatever, instead of doing a 4-hour fan fest, which is amazing, and I know they love doing it because they truly do. I mean, they play for the university, but
right.
I really think that they like the notoriety that they get. But instead of doing it then when they can have a morning off, why not do it during a game when you're already there? And I think it also kind of helped boost attendance.
Of course.
So
I think it did too. I think there was a good number of people there.
So you do it during a game where you're not necessarily going to get 40,000.
Right. Yeah, you do it during what's perceived as a cupcake game, and let's be honest, it's Holy Cross or an FCS team, and they were not going to put up a huge fight against us. So attendance would have been down otherwise. And FanFest accomplished two things. One, it brought people in who probably wouldn't have come.
There was first timers from babies to Nana.
Yep.
Kayla's Nana was there. That was her first time.
Yep.
That pretty little pumpkin.
And there was a section of the fan base who stayed longer than they would have
to get down on the field
because there was FanFest after.
Yeah.
whether or not you made it down there or whether or not you thought it was a success at the end of it, I don't know. It's not for me to judge. If you went to ones previous, I'm not even sure how many they've had. This could be the second, third, fourth for all I know. I have no idea.
And again, this, I know, like I said, it helps the players having it off in August. But as a fan, I'm glad I got an opportunity to go. And in the summer, we are jam busy. Yep. They're doing, picnics and graduation parties and family vacations and things of that nature. So the summer is spent so much with family that it's hard necessarily for people to take that weekend off to go to FanFest.
Right.
So, you have a hair, because I like to claim my stock.
Seriously, you shit all over me.
So, yeah, I mean, it also gave an opportunity for people who, because, I mean, I've had season tickets for 20 years, and I don't remember necessarily when FanFest started or happened.
No, I haven't gone to many, if any, of them before.
And it's not, right, it's not a detriment to my fandom. It just is simply because over the summer it didn't work out in my schedule.
So if you've gone to ones previous, let us know. Let us know, compare and contrast how you felt it went. I didn't know what to expect walking in. We didn't FanFest before.
No. We got there for about 40 minutes before kickoff, and that's when we went up and met Tony and Kayla.
Yeah, and we were just trying to, plan out the rest of the day. So we didn't really do much FanFesting. We did a lot of tailgating.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We did our own FanFesting.
We FanFested ourselves. But I liked it. I enjoyed going down there. I got to see some players.
Yeah, we had a good time. We kind of...
You got to stalk Cooper one more time?
And as soon as I got up to him, he was like, I remember you. And then, of course, I had to bring up when I saw him walk into varsity and turn around and walk out. Yeah. And he was like, it was my birthday. I just wanted to sit down and have lunch. I promise it wasn't you. And I told him, I said, I have insane vision for spiders and Syracuse football players. Yeah. I can find a spider in 3 rooms from me, and there's
actually one right there.
Shut up. And I know, where my eyes have to go to see my little dumplings in orange.
You got to see him again.
So we didn't do the lines.
No,
but they never really looked like they got out of control or long.
No, and I went over and talked to a couple of the kids. I talked to David Summers. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, we did. I went more on the side and just kind of grabbed people.
Right. Yeah. Just whatever. You just kind of did what you did. They stopped you at the 50 because I don't know what was going on at the other end.
I think for security reasons, if they're only going to have 8 security guards policing it, you don't want to take the chance that one of us is going to end up in the locker room.
Yeah.
So
because I might have.
Right. So if you just stop everybody at the 50.
So whatever. I had a good time. I enjoyed it. I would do it again if they had it. If they have it exactly like that next year. Mm-hmm. So. One last quick shout out before we get into the hugs and kisses. Okay. I just want to shout out our crew up in 327. Came through with the shirts. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. NWO. Let's see. Can we get a shot? Tell me if you can see this. Can you see?
Yes. Orange for life, and then it has the 327.
327.
We're working on getting a banner.
Yep. 327 for life. It's the best section in the dome. If you don't believe me, just stop up and see us.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people that don't necessarily, their ticket doesn't necessarily say 327.
Right,
but throughout the game, they come on up.
We're in the end zone, kind of in the corner, but we're high enough where you can see everything, and there's space, and we can get a little crazy. Mm-hmm. So...
Well, yeah, because we're the last 4 rows, so there's really not much happening behind us that doesn't want us to get crazy.
People can believe whatever they want to believe. We had a hand in 2 straight false starts.
Absolutely, we did.
That was in our end zone. When they were backed up on the 5, they false started, and they false started again. We gave them the business.
But you know who else had a hand in it? Jen, Clay, and Sean and Hannah were right below us. And Keita and her son. I forgot his name.
You're such a horrible human.
I forgot his name. He had the most cutest orange cast. Darn it all, that.
Yeah, they were all down directly below us in 124.
Yes.
So
I'm so sorry, Keita. But yes, and they were first row.
Yes.
So yeah, the bread of our family were us and the Gens, and the fan meat in the middle. We made a great.
And 327, the people who haven't always been loud with us are starting to come around.
Yeah.
They're starting to come around up there. They're like, you know what? I'll start matching some energy. So,
or at least smile.
At least smile. All right, so
yeah. So
let's talk about the game. They played a game.
They did play a game. So you know what we should do?
What should we do?
We should get into our hugs and kisses.
Roll it. All right, guys. Here we are. Let's talk about some hugs and kisses. Had a game against Holy Cross.
We did.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Had a great time. Babe, what'd you see? What stuck out to you Saturday?
So, obviously, there were certain things that happened throughout the game that definitely stuck out to me. But as far as, like, groups of things that I've noticed that have been different, we're playing a lot more of that fast tempo offense. We're getting back to kind of that fast tempo offense that we've kind of learned to love. Mm-hmm. And so we're playing more of the stacked screens, the stacked receiver screens, and that's all kind of feeding into the fast tempo. Another thing kind of too, and I've sort of noticed it in Western Michigan, but definitely more so in the Holy Cross game, was we're pulling linemen, Vettorello and Adams. We're pulling them more to the right, which is typically more of what you're going to do against the pass, but we're doing
against the run. Yeah. But we're doing it on the pass, which is something that, okay, so let me touch on those. All right. So the high tempo offense is coming back, and we didn't see it at Liberty. We definitely didn't see it against Maryland or Clemson. We were still trying to find ourselves in some fashion or another for those 3 games.
Right.
The quick to the line, the running back or receiver doesn't even put the ball down. They hand it to the line judge who can set it, wind it, and we can run a play. And those stacked receiver screens have been bread and butter. Mm-hmm. They've been a staple for us now for going into 4 years. And we didn't run enough of them. And kudos to Tommy, specifically on Saturday. When we rewatched it, we watched a bunch of those. And his decision-making on those plays was excellent.
Yeah.
So the point of those, I'll do this really briefly, just so I can give an overview for people who know what it is but don't know why. The point of those is to create a mismatch in numbers. Mm-hmm. When you run to the line and you know what you're doing, the defense has to know what it's doing. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't, and there's hesitation, you create a mismatch.
Right.
The very first one that we ran to the line.
That was the most noticeable one. And of course, because now the defense is going to make adjustments.
They're going to adjust, right. So the very first one, we ran to the line, Tommy got under center, and if you're watching on TV, it was the bottom of the screen. If you were live, it was the sideline, our sideline, home sideline. And you had Aaron Hackett and Taj. You had the linemen and linebackers all in their positions, but you only had one corner here, and he was about 7 yards off. So you have a blocker and a corner and a receiver. It's 2-on-1. Tommy saw the mismatch, quick snap, got the ball out great. Taj hit the corner, went up the sideline for a net positive gain. Later on, I believe, in that same drive, we ran the same play, threw it up top, this time to Tristan, who...
I think it was this play. At the time of the snap, Tristan and Elmore... No, Hackett had switched. It was Tristan and Hackett at that time.
Yep.
So, and then Elmore was down here. So, yeah, Tristan and at the time of the snap, it was 2-on-1. But the strong side, the Sam...
Yep.
Yeah, so the Sam linebacker at that, he was already turning, but by the time Tommy read the defense, it was too late for Tommy to make the adjustment. So then it ended up being 2-on-2 and
actually ended up being the strong safety came down too. So there was 3 defenders. Aaron Hackett and Taj had the ball, and a really great block by Aaron Hackett as he engaged, turned his man away from the sideline, and in turning him, got in the way of the second guy. And Taj, who just has he's really nimble feet. And I remember when we watched the play, you asked me, because he caught it and spun towards the sideline. That's the design. Hackett knows to turn his block away from the sideline.
Right.
So that's where Tristan found his
if he would have ran this way, there wasn't protection for him.
There was no protection.
He had to follow his guy.
Yeah, he had to do what he did. So the play in those dictates a lot in our offense.
Well, right now we're 15th in the country for
plays per game.
Plays per game. We're running
like
about
almost 80. Right?
Yeah, we're running about 80,
which is still actually light for us.
Right. Yeah.
And
we ran
that
80.
average will go up. We didn't run enough in Maryland and Clemson, which brought our average down.
Right.
So that average will go up. I think we actually ran 84 Saturday.
Yeah, and we ran 88 the week before.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
so the average will go up, and we'll get back there. But so what this does is a couple of things that helps out the offense as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And one is that it slows the pass rush from the second level, from the linebackers, because Maryland and Clemson just buckled up their chin straps and took off.
Yeah.
Created, good blitzes, and without any hesitation, if you could just pin your ears back and go, man, like, you're asking a lot of A, the offensive line, B, any running back that's in there that's got a chip, and overload to one side. Like, it's a lot to ask. So kudos to Mike Lynch.
He's
the offensive coordinator. Kudos to Mike Lynch for his play calling the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
and the
go ahead.
neat thing about, too, with the pulling of the linemen, like, it also, it creates a difference for that particular play, but it also starts to show they're trending, and every play does. The offensive coordinator has no care in the world about the play that's happening right now in front of him when he's up in the box.
No, once he sent the play down, he's looking at the next play.
Right, yeah. So it's neat to watch the trends of the defense. And in every game, I'm getting a little bit better than, at the beginning, obviously I feel pretty confident in my football knowledge. So during this season, kind of every week, you take my knowledge just one step up and up. And so by now I'm starting to see that the progression, the fact that everything is so totally by design.
Everything's totally by design. So as far as the pulling linemen go, I have one specific play that I want to talk about. I don't know if it's going to be on the highlight reel on YouTube, which means I don't know if I'll be able to put it back here.
Oh, yeah.
If I can, it will be here, but it was really just a vanilla play.
Right.
So it might not be on any highlight. But that specific vanilla play was so big.
It gave all the information that they needed.
Right. Okay, so the third play of the game, and if you get a chance to find a way to rewatch it, it is legitimately the third play of the game.
Yeah,
it's 1st and 10. We just threw an 11-yard pass to Tristan Jackson. Mm-hmm. We come to the line. We're in a double tight end set, one wide receiver on each side. We run a standard, quick 3-step drop with Tommy. There's one legit receiver out in the route, and that's Chris Elmore, who runs a 5 and out. Tommy hits the top of his drop, 3 steps, quick release, gone. Okay. Incomplete. It didn't get caught. Now it's 2nd and 10.
So
play moves on. You think this is just that's what happened.
Especially live game, you just
that's next.
Yeah.
So then we watched it, and we must have watched this play 6 times.
It was one of the most important plays.
It was one of the most important plays of the game, and here's why. So on that play, this is a passing play. We pulled Vettorello and Evan Adams, and Evan Adams comes first and picks up the defensive end, who was left to go by when Elmore went out for his route.
Right.
Because the D end lined up.
Because Elmore started on the line, so when he goes to line up for his route, now this D end is.
Yep. He lined up in a wide 9, which is the last gap on the end of the line. So he lined up way outside. Elmore releases, so there's nobody to block him. We pulled Evan Adams. He picked him up. Vettorello comes behind him, cleans it out. So what they see in the booth is what the defense reacts to that. So here's how they reacted. The 2 linebackers stopped dead. Tommy drops it. There was no play fake. This was not a play action pass. Right. There was no play fake, but that didn't matter. The linebackers stopped their zone drop, took 2 steps towards the line of scrimmage, because every time you see a pulling lineman, you think run. You have to, because if you don't and you don't react, you're going to get burnt. So they stopped and they came up to the line to sell out on the run. So now we know that's happening. The other thing we know is happening. So
effectively stopped the blitz.
Yes, right. So even if they were going to blitz, actually, I think one of them was coming, if I remember correctly. One of them was coming, but then had to follow the lineman. So we slowed down the blitz. which would help us going forward in 5 or 7 step drops, plays that need longer to develop.
Right.
The second thing that happened is we saw that even when the linebackers committed to stop the run, Adams made his block, Vettorello made his block, a hole was opened. Mm-hmm. Fast forward 2 quarters.
Mm-hmm. It was the third quarter when we saw it again.
In the third quarter, we run the exact same formation and run the exact same play, except this time it's a handoff, and Mo Neal, I think, gets 5 or 7 yards out of it. Mm-hmm. So the gamesmanship inside of the line is getting better, and these polls are showing confidence.
Right. I think so obviously, a lot was to be said about the playbook in the first couple of weeks, and when are we going to open up to see all these trick plays? When are we, Dino talked about preseason, all these trick plays.
All this new stuff.
New stuff, yeah. But how you only get to see so much happening in scrimmage and in practice.
Yes.
So the first couple of games are not only to not open the playbook, but they're also to see what's going on and to gel. And there's no more cohesive group on a football field than the offensive line. 100%. Those 5 people live, breathe, shower, pee, you have to know when someone takes a breath for 1 second longer than the last breath, it means something. And it appears as though the coaching staff is Brian Ward. I'm sorry, not Brian Ward. Wow, I just wanted to go B-dubs all the way. We love our B-dubs. It appears, that Mike Litch and Mike Kavanaugh are seeing this. Obviously, Dino is seeing this. Mm-hmm. There's more cohesiveness. There's more gelling. And in that, they're able to throw a little bit more intricate plays in there.
Yeah, a little bit more detailed in the most basic of plays.
Right.
A 3-step drop, 5-yard out is... It's as basic a play as you're going to run.
Play.
It is literally a Pop Warner play, double tight end, quickest play you're going to find. And we ran so much inside of that told Mike Lynch and Mike Kavanaugh up in the booth what was going to happen later in the game. So that was awesome to watch because it meant a lot in the progression of the offensive line and their understanding of the scheme in front of them. And what's happening, and the trust of the offensive coordinator and line coach to do that. Because even on the poll, you have to know all 5 of them now. So Aaron Service has to block down. Dakota Davis has to block down. Ryan Alexander has to block down. If you miss any of those guys come free.
Right.
If Evan Adams doesn't get there in time, that guy comes free. But they moved as a unit. It went like this. And it opened a hole here for the third quarter when we ran the play.
You don't run a left side pull over to the right, and because they run the 30.
Yeah.
So any miscue could potentially be a fumble, could potentially be a defensive touchdown from Holy Cross or from. You don't run something like that unless you have confidence in the way that these guys have now conformed as one.
Yeah. So that was awesome. That was awesome to see, and it was, like I said, it was a very basic play, and it was really meant nothing because now it was 2nd and 10 right after that. But at the end of the day, that play, while it didn't mean anything right then,
it meant a lot later.
It meant a lot later on. Last thing I want to touch on as far as the offense goes is specifically the play action pass. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this specifically after one play when you commented on what a great fake you saw from Abdul Adams. Mm-hmm. Okay, so similarly to the stacked receiver screens.
Yeah.
Similarly to the pulling of the guard and tackle on a passing play, the play action pass has one job and one job only, and the fake is to slow down the linebackers. It is to freeze linebackers. We have run more of it in the last 6 quarters than we did the first 3.5 games.
Right, but it's the play that it was our bread and butter for the last 3 years. It's that fast tempo. Yep. It's that
Dungy to Dante, Dungy to Mo, Dungy to whatever. You put the ball in, you pull it out, the linebacker freezes. So even on a blitzing linebacker now, he has to hesitate. That gives a 0.5 second to 0.7 seconds more than you were getting. So It's the play calling and design like that I believe is making the difference.
Is it possible that you think, and probably even completely subconsciously, that maybe the first couple games were play called or set up more with an offensive scheme to gear towards a new identity? Because that was such a focus preseason. It was such a focus to, last year was great, but we are, this is a new year, this is a new identity, this is a new team. And so let's gear our offensive play calling to that, to the new identity. And it didn't work to the level in which they expected or wanted. So now let's reel it back for just a quick second.
Or we can be brutally honest and say that it didn't work at all. Because I think that you're onto something there.
Yeah. And so then let's reel it back. Let's go back to our bread and butter. Because what that's going to do is it doesn't necessarily set up for the rest of the season that we're just going to do play action pass all, and run pass options.
But we might, because if they don't start biting that play action pass, then you hand it to Mo without a collapsing linebacker.
They might, but that going back to the bread and butter, those 4-yard gains, 5-yard gains, first downs, it breeds confidence, it breeds shoulders back, and then it allows for you to feel better about that long distance throw.
Yes, I think Dino specifically, the coaching staff as a whole, but Dino specifically because he's the mic man.
Great catch on the sideline this week.
It was a good catch. No push-ups for Dino this week. Good hands. I think Dino specifically sold the fans and himself on this new identity. Now,
he had to. It was the right move, and I'm not denying the idea. It just didn't work the way he planned it, because in creating this new offensive identity, he had a play calling scheme that wasn't being effective yet. Mm-hmm. Maybe next year, when almost all of these guys are back, right,
it might work with another year under their belt to try something new. But he sold out on trying to create a new identity, because last year's team was last year's team. Yeah. They're not this year's team. We are who we are right now. So, but I think he sold out so much into trying to create that separation that he lost some of what makes him great.
Right.
And what makes him great is that he can out-scheme that tempo over anybody.
Yeah.
So, and now we're going back to that.
Yeah.
As I think that we should. So, offensively, my concerns are dwindling down to nothing. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot that I do like.
And the concerns that we kind of talked about are all not even to the, you have your concerns that just aren't going to get fixed. Then you have your concerns that are teachable or coachable. Then you have your concerns that are just like, I wonder if they just didn't feel it not feel it as in the energy, but like they just didn't do it today. So, and that's what these concerns are. They're almost not even coachable, teachable things.
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned with what I'm seeing for the last, for the last 2 games, and then the first half of the Clemson game. Mm-hmm. So I loved what I saw the first half of the Clemson game. We needed to get, if we got back offensively at that point, that game could turn out differently. Not saying we could win, but it wouldn't end the way that it ended. Mm-hmm. If that game was a little closer at halftime. And then the last 2 games specifically, we got back to better play calling. Mm-hmm. So that's what we liked. Is there anything that you saw Saturday that left you with, okay, we have something we still need to work on?
Yes, and
she hates this part.
I do hate this part, but that's also.
But I force her.
Yeah,
I force her into it.
Why I have to do it, and because it's not. It will never be a dig. It will never be an attack. I have to preamble. We still need to work a little bit on our confidence in knowing, confidence in your assignment, confidence in the play call. If the play call is set up for whatever, know that it's set up that way for a reason, and it's going to work. I mean, if everybody does what everybody's supposed to, it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world kind of thing. Like, it's better for you to get to your assignment and it not work than for you not to get to your assignment. if you have confidence and if you have lack of confidence, which then turns into a hesitation.
Yeah, and you don't commit
to your role, you'll never know if that play call worked.
Yes.
Whereas if you commit to your role, you get to your assignment, you get to your spot, and you don't catch it, then at least you know by design what was going on, and then you can work on the tweaking that needs to be done for the catch or for the throw or whatever.
Yes.
And then if you then you go to your assignment, you go to where you're supposed to go, and you catch it, it's good. Every single one of these, a play is never drawn up at the snap. Like everything is by design.
Yes. So I have 2 examples of this.
Okay.
And this is where being the quarterback on any team makes your decision making valuable.
Yeah, you're the boss.
Why you're so valuable and why your decision making makes a difference. There's 2 specific plays that come to mind. One, I felt like Tommy could have given himself a little more chance. Mm-hmm. And one that we had to watch 30 times to even figure out what happened. And once we saw what happened, and once I finally clicked, Tommy made one of the best decisions he made all day, again on a play for negative gain.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to make this really quick because, boy, we rambling at 30 already. Mm-hmm. All right. So play 1 was in the first half. Actually, both plays were in the first half. There is a quick drop from Tommy DeVito. He looks to his left where Sean Riley's running a 5-and-out from the slot. Taj runs what appears to be a go route up the sideline. Tommy drops, looks, is ready to throw. Mm-hmm. And there's a miscommunication between Tommy and Taj. Mm-hmm. The announcer said he wanted to throw it to Sean Riley.
Because Sean Riley was looking.
And was open.
But just because Sean Riley's looking at Tommy, the play has already been called. His job is to look to option 1, which is Taj.
Yes.
He doesn't even...
Riley's not in his focus. You have to look at options.
Right.
You have to go down your progressions. His progression 1 was Taj Harris on that play. Mm-hmm. There was a miscommunication. You'll never know who was right in that situation.
No, and nor should we.
We should never know.
There are things that as fans we don't need to know.
Taj was supposed to run a 7-yard dig route.
And then come...
And he didn't. Mm-hmm. So Tommy didn't throw it. Maybe he was supposed to run a go route, and Tommy thought he was running a dig route, and he didn't throw it. Either way, so what happens there is Tommy looks, he goes to make the pass, and he turns and looks at option 2, which on this play was Tristan up the sideline.
Right, and that's when he tiptoed it.
Right, I think it was the play that he caught it one-handed, wasn't quite in bounds. Here's where more experience for Tommy will make him more elite than he already is. Mm-hmm. Because when that happened and there was a miscommunication, the play had broken down in Tommy's mind.
Right.
And this is we're talking game 4, guys. Mm-hmm. So the play had broken down. So he started to get a little happy feet. And he still had time, though. Mm-hmm. He could have turned to Tristan, who technically wasn't open, and turned back to Sean Riley, who was wide open. Mm-hmm. He had enough time for that.
Like all but 5 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage. Like he was still in gear and play. I mean, again,
and the line was doing a great job.
Right now, it's been 2.3 seconds since the snap of the ball.
Yeah, and a lot has happened. So the line was doing a great job, and he got a little happy feet because the play started to break down in the miscommunication.
Right.
And experience will get him to keep going through his progressions. Now, mind you, even with the happy feet, he looked at the line, he saw a hole,
and he
wrapped around, got himself to the sideline, and made a great throw, and Tristan almost made a great catch. So even in that,
he still delivered.
We made a great play as a team. There was a potential there for better. Mm-hmm. And that's all at the end of the day I'm looking for.
Right. If our need to work on bullet point this week is that we were good and we can get better,
I'm good with that.
I think we're doing okay.
All right, so and then quickly I'm going to get to the second play because this one's a little bit more intricate.
This is the one we literally
watched forever. Okay, so second quarter, there's a screen pass or a swing pass to Abdul Adams who gets tackled 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Snap comes, Tommy backpedals, Nothing happening in front of him to get rid of the ball to. Dumps it to Abdul Adams as a safety valve. Their linebackers make a great play. He's tackled for a 2-yard loss. So as we're watching it, I couldn't wrap my mind around what exactly happened.
Yeah.
Because it appeared as though the offensive line missed a whole bunch of blocks, like 3 of them. Mm-hmm. And then I couldn't understand why Tommy was backpedaling because that's not who he is.
That's not who he is at all. No.
That's not who he is. When that rush comes, he's not scared. He doesn't backpedal. So I couldn't get my mind around that. So we rewatched it again. Finally, I said, wait, this was a screen pass. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they bumped the defensive lineman. They let them go. And they set up the wall just over it.
Yeah, because Ryan Alexander's out here with nobody. And that was the first,
the first giveaway.
That was the first thing that made us rewatch it again, is Ryan Alexander is never without somebody.
Right. And he's standing there with literally nobody in front of him. And then Evan Adams, and they were like all right there. So I said, oh, babe, this was actually supposed to be a middle screen. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, all of a sudden, it was Abdul Adams' fault.
Right.
Like, oh, he didn't run the right play. He thought we were running a screen to the right. He was supposed to get to the middle screen. Mm-hmm. And so we rewatched it again. Because the hole
in the middle was
big. Yeah, there was room there. So if this play actually developed correctly, we'd got big yards. So we rewatched it a couple more times. And I'm like, no, it just doesn't seem right because Abdul Adams would never have been
all the way to the sideline,
lined up where he was,
right,
if he needed to be here.
Right.
So I said, that can't be right. I said, maybe it was a wide receiver screen. Mm-hmm. And we watched it again. And up at the top of the screen, we had trips. Mm-hmm. There was Sean Riley, Nykeem Johnson, Tristan Jackson. Mm-hmm. Snap of the ball comes, and this is what you brought up about having confidence in your assignment.
Yeah.
Nykeem Johnson shows a touch of hesitation. Mm-hmm. Sean Riley comes out into his route. Nykeem Johnson's supposed to come behind him.
Pretty soon we'll be John Madden and we'll have.
Oh yeah, I'm going to get a teleprompter. Yeah. And Nykeem Johnson is supposed to come behind him and plant himself behind.
It was Ryan Alexander,
Evan Adams, and Dakota Davis.
Oh, okay. I thought Aaron was on the inside of.
No, Aaron's the first one I thought missed the block. I was ready to call him out.
That's right.
Because his job is just to keep chipping people and slow him down. Mm-hmm. So Nykeem Johnson's supposed to get behind this screen and go upfield. Mm-hmm. He doesn't make it. So he's hesitant in his initial takeoff and doesn't get there quick enough. So the entire play, so when Tommy's backpedaling, he's just looking for the receiver to clear his vision so he can deliver that screen pass. It never happens. And this is the play that Tommy had great decision making. Mm-hmm. So the first one, I thought he could have been a little more patient.
And again, live and in person, you see it as a 2-yard loss. You're not even going to think
of all the other things that happened.
Well, yeah, you're not even going to think to review it.
Right. So, but this play, Tommy waited as long as he could, and that's where the back pedal came in. He waited and waited and waited and waited.
Which Nykeem was awesome to see.
Right, patience. Nykeem didn't come into the picture in time. He turned to his safety valve, his check down, and knew, you talked about this 3 weeks ago, knew that Abdul Adams was not getting positive yardage.
But 0 is better than negative.
Yes, that -1 or 2 was better than the -12 had he got sacked.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the things I would like to work on.
So then Abdul goes down, and obviously as he goes down, the whistle blows. But if you rewatch this play for whatever reason, if you're not insane like us, so Abdul goes down, the whistle's about to blow. If you pause the screen right then, there is a gigantic hole, and the offensive linemen, they're going to their assignment.
Yep.
They have no idea that stuff didn't happen, and you just see Syracuse people just
mowing the field.
It was so opening.
If that play landed as it was supposed to, that play goes for big yards.
It would have been a touchdown. I think we were pretty close to the end zone.
No, actually, I think we were on like this 30. I think we were on this 30-yard line. But yeah, I mean, if Nykeem gets it there, he's fast.
He's so fast.
He's got, the juke ability, and you got 3 linemen in front of you mowing the field. Mm-hmm. That play goes for big yardage, if not a touchdown. And it's the little things like that. As players get their confidence level, if he was more confident in the play call and just at the snap of the ball took his 1 step back and darted to where he needed to be, that play goes for big yardage. So
that's the those are the plays where if you look, your knee-jerk reaction is the sky is falling.
Right, the line missed all the blocks.
Yeah.
Or Tommy got scared.
And again, because we end with negative yards and it looks like nobody's doing anything. But if you slow it down, and I'm not asking anybody to, but I'm also asking that if you...
I think this one might actually be on the highlight reel so I can
if your knee-jerk reaction is to say the sky's falling and someone comes back with but maybe it's not... Just be open to that because this is exactly what it means.
Right. Maybe the sky isn't falling.
Your reaction to this one play is the sky's falling, and it's not.
Right.
Everything was by design. Everything happened exactly the way it was, except for one little hitch and a lack of confidence in the second quarter of the fifth week.
Yes. Okay. That's all we got for offense, right? I apologize at 40 minutes. We're going to try and wrap this up in the next.
There was a lot of cool.
There was a lot to talk about.
And one thing, and it's game related more. When you go in favored by 38 or goodness gracious, whatever, you know what? We don't have to win by 38. At the end of the season, we don't get more stars because we won by...
Because you covered the spread.
Yeah, I don't care what Vegas does. I don't bet on the game. I know some people do, and that's fine. But that's not what's important. Dino doesn't care if we cover the spread. You know what Dino cares about? Take this opportunity to do these little intricacies, to get... There was babies on that field that have never touched and probably won't again now that we go into ACC play.
Oh, there were some guys out there that played well. There were some guys who don't normally play, and they played well.
Played well. And that is more important. What you learn, the live... The in-game live training almost that it is more important than winning by 30.
Agreed. Moving on.
Because
otherwise we'll never get out of here. All right, really quick, let's talk about the defense.
Okay.
What big points do you have for the defense?
Rhino. Rhino was in the defense and looking like a stud muffin.
Yeah.
That kid can do everything. He's gonna throw a pass this year.
I don't know if he can throw a pass. But Chris Elmore, this is a super talented kid.
Yeah.
He can do everything. He played tight end. Mm-hmm. He played fullback. Mm-hmm. He played defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. He played on special teams. Mm-hmm. He did it all.
All three facets of the game. Rhino.
Yeah.
And he does a show in the middle of the week.
And he does Jungle Rumble.
Yeah.
Talented kid.
He's a very talented kid.
We did learn something yesterday about him, though.
We did. He was his goal when he started his recruiting process was to come in as a defensive player.
Yeah, he wanted to play D-line.
He wanted to play D-line. That was his thing. And he had a hard time committing to Syracuse. His daddy was talking about this yesterday, that he had a hard time committing to Syracuse for a moment because of that. Because once you commit to Syracuse, Babers had already told him basically to recruit you as an offensive player.
Right.
But have faith and have trust. And look, 3 years into it, and he's a stud muffin. And my gosh, I heard his name more when we were watching it because
they talked about him all game.
ACC Network, yeah.
ACC Network talked about him all game.
All game. They talked about him in offense. They talked about him on defense. They talked about him on special teams. Yeah. Elmore was a very, very well-spoken name on Saturday, and good for him. He's awesome. He's funny. He's like the class clown. He's the leader. He's always the one right next to Dino out of the tunnel. Like
when McKinley Williams comes back, having Chris Elmore, who played really well at that defensive line spot, added depth at that defensive tackle is huge. We need it, especially with the high tempo offense that we run and the potential for 3 and outs that could lead to a tired defense. Having that depth is huge.
Right.
So loved seeing Rhino out there. Nice job out there, Chris. You're talented.
Yes, absolutely. We again held a team to under 20 yards.
Second time this year.
Yeah, obviously in Liberty it was -4 rushing yards and 18 rushing yards this week. So that is also something to definitely use as an accolade. It's very good. Probably what everybody would prefer us to talk about though is my man Tyrell. The whistle heard round the world. The Tyrell Richards and Trill Williams show that was put on for just a little brief moment.
All right, to give us let me talk about Tyrell's hit really quick, and then I'll let you go to Trill.
Okay.
So, by the letter of the rule, even by the letter of the rule, it is a gray area hit. I could see it either direction. So to me, that means if there was a flag on the field, that flag should have been upheld. There was not.
Right.
Being that there was not, there should not have been enough in that replay to eject Tyrell Richards.
Right.
His forearms came up, what appeared to be in time for the hit. There was movement from the quarterback, and there was a lot happening, and I don't think that warranted the ejection because there wasn't a flag thrown. If the ref saw it and immediately thought it was egregious, and he threw the flag, that flag could not have been overturned. So
right, there wasn't irrefutable evidence in either direction.
Right. So I don't think the refs got it right because there was no initial call.
They didn't get it right because they got it wrong. I guess if you...
Right.
Yeah, like if you don't see enough to put a flag down at first, then how can you see enough now? But
so, yeah, I don't think the call was right. I loved what Dino did at halftime.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, that particular play, Tyrell Richards himself, all alone, amped up a crowd of... They called 32, but they're
they
big
called
fat liars.
40 plus. They're liars.
Of 25,000 fans at the Holy Cross game to be louder than... That was loud.
So then on the next play.
Yeah. So then on the next play, Trill finds himself in a position...
In a precarious
situation. I don't believe that it was drawn up in his head. I don't believe it was thought of before the snap of the ball.
Absolutely not.
But he goes to tackle, and it turns out that the tackle needs just a little bit more oomph, if you will.
Yep.
So he suplexes.
Suplex City, baby.
Suplex City. And down he goes. And who was it that came? Was it Cooley?
No, it was Evan Foster.
Evan Foster
came and like grabbed his feet at the end of it and dumped him. Kudos to you, Evan.
Okay, but so well, obviously that's gonna be on the highlight reel. That'll be replayed. At that moment, okay, so Trill, obviously a flag's thrown. Obviously they have to have whistles, and there is not one person upset with Trill on the sideline. Not one person. I don't care if you are the Pope. You are not mad on that sideline. In 327, what is happening is this. My husband decides to go into cardiac arrest, and because there's been some medical concerns in the paper, one in basketball last year, one at the Clemson game this year, there was about 30 people that turned around and were probably hoping to get on the news. I don't think they were really trying to see.
They didn't care if I was really having a heart attack.
They wanted to know if they can get their picture taken because
they wanted to know if it was going to shut me up for the rest of the game. Is really what they wanted to know.
That's probably true.
Okay, so after Trill dumps him, and yes, it was a retaliation dump. No, he didn't plan it ahead of time. He found himself behind the receiver trying to make a tackle, and you know what? At that point, he decided he knew when he picked him up he was getting the flag.
Oh my gosh, yeah. If I'm going to get the flag, I'm going to get the flag.
I'm going to get the flag. This was the football equivalent of CC Sabathia beating a batter because they hit one of ours.
Right.
This was the football equivalent.
Unfortunately, receiver, you didn't blow the whistle. You didn't address. You weren't even the dude that Tyrell hit.
Nope. Doesn't matter.
But
you got the retaliation.
The next batter up for the Astros had also nothing to do with Peg and Aaron Judge.
Right.
But CC is going to hit him.
Exactly. So he dumps him.
And then it goes off.
The announcers say,
Dino really has to calm.
Oh, this really got like the hair on the back of my neck.
Dino really has to calm his kids down.
And
then they pan over to Dino.
Who ain't
do nothing. Trill comes off for one play. There's a little, like, you can't see it on camera. I imagine there was a little, like, you got your one. Dino's watching the field. Trill goes over here. And then, okay, so he's off for one play. He comes back the next play. Mm-hmm. Not only is Dino confident in putting Trill back in the game, that he's calmed his kid down.
That he's mature enough.
He's mature enough. He also puts him into the position of the mic where... Well, no.
He put him at corner.
Yeah, okay. I saw it lined up a little differently in my head, but yeah. So he puts him in the position to come in for blitz.
And he blitzed him.
And he didn't get to the quarterback. The play had already happened, and so he actually, he didn't create a sack or anything. But that didn't matter. What mattered is that not only did Dino feel confident enough in the calming down of his child, he also felt that he was calm down enough to take what could be an aggressive play.
Right, yeah. So he felt confident in the maturity of Trill Williams to blitz him on his first play back in after pulling him from the penalty. And then now the very next play was where I saw the maturity for myself. Mm-hmm. So he never got to the quarterback on that play, so really nothing happened.
Right.
The play right after that, Holy Cross runs, just a standard out route, and Trill's making a move on the play. The ball's overthrown, and the receiver's up here. He doesn't get a hand on it, and he's coming down, and he's wide open. Mm-hmm. This is 3 plays after an ejection, 2 plays after a suplex. Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have been flagged if there was a push out of bounds.
Yep.
It wouldn't have been a late hit. Wouldn't have been anything like that. What did Trill do?
Nothing. He pulled up and ran by him.
Brakes on and pulled right up.
And I tell you, he could have blown him up. He could have blown him up. And
it wouldn't even have been a flag.
No, I don't think they would have flagged him.
There would have been in the booth. There would but you know what? That is what Dino means when he is not just coaching a football team.
No, he's
turning
making
boys into men. This is a
Trill showed maturity in those couple plays, and that was awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what we got for defense.
Yes. Okay.
Before we get to the 60-minute mark, people are going to be mad at us this week.
Okay, special teams, real quick. First and foremost, I would like to point out that. Okay, so Sterling in the first quarter comes in. There's a field goal, 52-yard. Sterling comes in. Sterling kicks it. Sterling makes it. The place goes crazy. Underschmidt does not kick it.
Correct. Well, he can't kick it if Sterling kicked it.
Right. So they could kick together. That would be cute. Okay, so anyways, the game goes on. Everything goes on. The first question asked in the post-game press conference, can you tell us about the kicking controversy?
There is no kicking controversy.
Yesterday, we get on social media, there's an article by a supposed reputable journalistic group of... Their headline says, kicking controversy. Their headline last week said, bombshell, Dino's leaving.
Right.
This week, kicking controversy. So then, okay, because listen, you can't mess with our special teams. People got like angry last time when the bombshell Dino. Oh, stop. People attacked. Not only people, like
Brent X.
Journalists attacked
Brent X
them.
went at him.
Yeah. Mike Waters said something like, there was people attacking. And then their rebuttal with that was, oh my God, you idiot. Can't you take a joke? The headline was a joke. First of all, There is no such thing as a journalistic headline joke. There isn't. No. You can put a joke within an article. Your catch, your grab should be something that you've thought of, something that you went to school for, something that you're a journalist for to get their attention.
They're literally turning into tabloids.
They're tabloids.
They're the Syracuse sports tabloid.
Yeah, they're a National Enquirer. And so I don't care to read your information anymore.
No, it's garbage, and that's garbage. Like, you're just trying to
and then,
throw it out there for
on
clicks.
Twitter, they put the article and tagged Aaron Bolinsky, Sterling, and Andre. Don't put their... Right. Now, again, I'm not speaking on their behalf. If they want to be tagged, they want to be tagged. In my opinion, don't put their names in your made-up fight.
No, it was Bush League. There is no kicking controversy. If you went to the spring game, and we've said this all the way along, if you went to the spring game, you got to see Andre and Sterling both kicking field goals. As they got over 47 to 50 yards, Sterling has a bigger leg. Andre's one of the most accurate kickers you'll ever see. Sterling has a monster leg. That kick was good from 60 plus.
Both of them will be in the NFL.
Yes. So there is no controversy.
There is no controversy.
That's all. I'm going to Forrest Gump this one, and that's all I have to say about that.
And the other awesome kind of kudos I would like to point out about special teams is Aaron Bolinsky's fumble on the... was it the first?
First punt.
The first punt, yeah.
First punt of the game. He released downfield. He stayed in his lane. He stayed disciplined to the call from Justin Lustig. Mm-hmm. All right. So he stays in his lane and disciplined. The returner catches the ball, sidesteps, starts coming up. Now, Bolinsky stays in his lane, turns, because now he's got him boxed, and comes back and makes the hit, gets his right arm in, punches the ball out. Great play by the long snapper. Mm-hmm. And so kudos to Aaron Bolinsky for that. Mm-hmm. Our punt coverage team and our kickoff coverage team are the best in the country, along with the best punter in the country and the best field goal kicker in the country and the best everything that we got. And the best holder in the country, my man Nolan Cooney. Just in case you didn't know,
he's so big.
My holder whoop your holder's ass.
He's so big.
We challenge all teams to holder versus holder arm wrestling matches.
That's how we're going to determine overtime.
Overtime winners, yeah.
All right, so our game balls are now going to also be our ACC accolades because, holy moly.
Yeah.
So, game balls. Who do you want? Which one? There's 2 of them.
I will take, okay, so Pro Football Focus puts out their all ACC team every week. This week, Carlos Vettorello was on there. He made the all ACC team for tackle. And just because we didn't talk about it last week, really quick, last week Dakota Davis made it, and in week 1, Aaron Service made it. So in 3 of 5 weeks, we've had offensive linemen on the all ACC team. Who do you got?
Lakeem Williams.
For
the second week in a row.
Very good.
He has made the ACC team as well. So we have an offensive player, we have a defensive player that are making these all teams.
Yeah. Tristan has made it once.
Tristan is right. Sterling makes it every week. And we love it, and it's amazing, and it just goes to show that we're doing everything we need to do.
Yeah, we're making progress. We're doing what we need to do. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up.
We are. Sorry.
Yeah, I apologize.
We thought this one was going to be quick.
That got crazy. So that's everything.
It got crazy because we don't have a game this weekend.
We don't have a game.
So we will be
you watch it in
back,
2 parts if you got to.
Yeah. We will be back after the NC State game.
Whoa. We're not even going to record anything this weekend?
No, we're closing the pool next week. If we get to one, we get to one. I'm not putting one on the schedule because you have a lot of work you need to do this weekend.
So I might be here this weekend by myself giving you a show. So, all right, guys. As always, from Cuse Yourself Podcast, bleed orange and go cuse yourself.
Empty glass. Oh, my God. Stop. Oh, goodness.
Later.
I don't even want to be your wedgehead. I'm my own wedge.